Right, this is our unit check-in. You're going to do these 2 pages without a calculator. So we're going to just quickly review what you should know at this point. So we all know y equals a b to the power of x, and sometimes there's a number here plus c. So let's talk about what each of those letters mean, so we can go ahead and do some problems. So a plus c, and again, as I do my questions, you're doing yours. So as I write something down, you write something down. So a plus c is going to be your y-intercept. Okay, so a plus c is your y-intercept, or your initial value. If there is no c, it is a 0. So if there's no number here, it is a 0. Y equals c only is the isotope. Okay, the isotope is the line that it approaches but never touches. So that line there is your isotope. Okay, so just this C piece, and again, as I'm writing mine down, you're writing yours down on your paper. So just this C piece is your isotope. And please note that you always do y equals that number. Okay. B is your growth or your decay. All right, so B is your growth or your decay. So if it's your growth, the number is bigger than 1. The number inside here is bigger than 1. If it's your decay, the number is between 0 and 1. Now we are going to talk about something else in this place, which is right here. It is your growth factor if it's bigger than 1, your decay factor if it's between 0 and 1. So let's write some examples here because I want to also define your rate. So let's say we have y equals a, because I don't care what number that is, then 1 minus 0.02 to the power of x, and let's assume I don't have anything there. So this whole thing, everything in the parentheses, 1 minus 0.02 is your factor, whereas this little piece of it is your rate. So let's go ahead and define. So if I do 1 minus 0.02, I'm going to get 0.98, which again is where B is as the whole thing. So that is my factor. Okay, so 0.98 is my factor. So all of B, everything inside the parentheses is my factor. And let's be specific. Now that I know it's 0.98, this is my decay factor. All right, my rate is just this piece right here, which is 0.02, just the end. And I can also write this as a percent rate. So if I have 2%, if I just multiply it by 100, percent rate is you multiply it by 100 and you're going to get that 2%. Okay, so whether you want to talk about my rate or my percent rate, that's the one that's just at the end. All right, so now that we know that, let's come back to our definitions. The other thing here is x, and x is going to be equal to our time. Okay, so now that we know all our definitions, there's several questions that we can ask from these definitions. So let's first start with our representations. We can ask from an equation, we can ask from a graph. So let's start with the equation. With the equation, if I'm looking for the y-intercept, remember the y-intercept is a plus c. And again, on your examples, it's different than mine. You're going to do the same thing I'm doing, just with yours. A plus c is equal to the y-intercept. So you need to write that down. So what is 2 minus 3? It is negative 1. So my y-intercept is always going to be my x value is 0, and my y value is my y-intercept. So 0, negative 1. Okay, what is the y-intercept in this case? And I'll come back to isotope. What is the y-intercept? Again, it's a plus c. And if there's no c, it is a 0. So a plus c is equal to the y-intercept. And yes, you need to write this down. I'm saying it 1,000 times so you can write it down. 5 plus 0 is 5. So once again, the x is equal to 0. And my y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis, is equal to 5. So that is my y-intercept. To find my isotope is only y equals c. Only is the isotope, the line that approaches but never touches. So just this C piece. So I'm going to go back here. Just the C piece. So I'm going to highlight what is the C? This one. So what is my isotope? And you must always make it an equation. It's going to be y equals negative 3. And again, as I'm doing my question, you're doing yours. Again, what is the isotope for this equation here? I don't have anything there, so it's an invisible 0. So my y-intercept is equal to, and there must be an equation, y equals 0. So now we've done our y-intercept and our isotope from an equation. I'm now going to do our, so from an equation, all you need to look at is our b. If it is growth, the factor is bigger than 1. If it is decay, it is between 0 and 1. So let's only look at b, which is this number right here. Is that bigger than 1 or is it between 0 and 1? Well, 1.005 is bigger than 1, so this is growth. And once again, as I do my question, you're doing your question. I do want you to say why it's growth, so please make sure you write it down. And for you, it might be decay. Again, as I do my question, you're doing yours. So I want you to say factor, and you want to use this word because I want you to get used to it. The b factor, if it's growth, must be bigger than 1. And again, yours might be different. Okay, so just do it based on your question. All right, looking at this one, just the b function right there. B is between 0 and 1, which means it is decay. So I want you to tell me that it is decay, or in your case, it might be growth, I don't know. But I want you to tell me the reason. So if it's decay, the B factor is between, and this is what between means, 0 and 1. It can never be equal to 1 because 1 is not going to make it grow or decay, and it cannot be equal to 0 because if you multiply anything by 0, you're going to get 0. Let's practice.